V8 Series, there's been just one name to watch out for. The man in black, Grant Johnson, and he has absolutely blitzed them. It is all about success. Grant Johnson does it in style. This weekend, we've gone from the wide open spaces of Darwin to the tight confines of Townsville. But one thing does remain the same. The heat's still on. Big lock up. Oh, boom. Side by side. Oh. Didn't give him much room there. Oh, there's been a rollover. This is round 4 in the Yokohama V8 Utes, protected by Armour All. Well, it's the halfway mark in the Yokohama V8 Ute Series this weekend, and a man who knows about piecing together a championship is two-time champ Damien White. Last year, though, here in Townsville, the boys were really well behaved. I think that's out the window this year.
Well, some of them blame the fact that they're a bit soft on it. It was 50% street circuit, and it's really 50% parkland, nice open areas, so they're not as daunted as they are, say, at Clipsal. However, I think that was just excuses. The reality is, last year they didn't know the circuit, they were soft. But this year, no excuses. We need them to get in, get on with it, with some traditional, tough V8 Ute racing, and I reckon we're going to see some.
Now, you talk about traditional, and this isn't a traditional street circuit in the strictest sense. There's a lot of parkland, but there is a lot of concrete around.
Hell of a lot of concrete, and you know what? These guys don't need concrete for action in some close racing. You know, they drag mirrors off all the time, they swap paint. It's like they might as well swap sponsors, because sometimes the cars end up with half the stickers off the other car. But it's why we love it, and I'm thinking this weekend we're going to see some hot action. The man who has been hot in form this year is the Western Australian Grant Johnson. He leads the championship, but the reigning champ is still looking for his first win this season. With 4 wins from the last 6 races, Grant Johnson would seem odds-on favourite to win the series. But they say consistency wins championships, and that's exactly the way the results have been falling for reigning champ Jack Elsgood. He sits second in the points, amazingly, without having won a race in the first 3 rounds. So how does that sit with the #1 driver?
Look, championships are hard to come by, and you take them any which way they came, but I'd like to think that with 5 rounds to go, that I'm going to go home with a couple of trophies with first on them.
The prize for the most outstanding win this season must go to Kim Jane. The former NASCAR champ won race 2 in Darwin from 15th on the grid, but after some early season setbacks, he knows luck plays its part in every V8 Ute race.
Townsville, it's a lot tighter, so therefore I think it's going to make for a lot more aggression. We've got a lot to catch up on, but we need to keep finishing races, and hopefully the guys at the front get in a bit of trouble this weekend. Everybody deserves a little bit in this category.
Jane's sensational win was stolen from the in-form Gary McDonald. Now Jane just in the toe, closing up. Big brakes, big comes the break. McDonald tries to cover it, but Kim Jane on the last lap has smoked his way through and got to the lead. But McDonald has been taking a very strategic approach to his driving of late, and because of it, sits 4th in the championship.
That was a case of, doing the best we can and staying out of trouble, analysing the rest with Kim. Obviously, he made a good move. I got an incident at Adelaide, the same thing, leading and got taken out. So this time I thought about it a bit more and rather take the point.
One of the quiet achievers this year has been Ben Dunn. The former rugby ace is one of 3 cars that the Cedars racing team has in the top 10 of the championship. Having the speed and experience of teammates David Cedars and Andrew Fisher has helped take Dunn closer to the pointy end of the field.
Yeah, it's made a huge difference. Obviously, Andrew Fisher's one of the leading Ford drivers, and Dave Cedars with his supercar experience. So it's made a big difference. There's a lot of competition internally, which is great, and we share all our data, we share all our videos, and I'd say it's a competition of egos at the moment. Once I beat their egos, then I can beat them on the track.
And it's a weekend of milestones as well, as Greg Willis becomes the 9th driver in series history to rack up his 100th championship race start. Let's just hope he has a better run than last time out.
Oh, massive brake lock up from Greg Willis. That's what caused that. When the brakes are locked, Freddie, you can't turn.
But the extreme moment of the round went to Peter Burnett.
Oh, he's just up on 2 wheels, the bonnet's flapping around. Jeez, that's first-hand, frightening experience.
I never moved in the car when it flipped over, and seat belts and the bars are fantastic. So no, I'll be right on. couldn't wait to get back here and sort of get on the track and get into practice. So no, it doesn't faze us. It's part of the ute racing.
And the Armour All Pole Position Award for this weekend in Townsville, for the first time this year, Jack Ellsgood, the Cooper's Clear Falcon, just over 1/10 of a second faster than Grant Johnson. It's the second pole of the year for Ford.
The first race of the weekend was set to be an epic showdown. After Ellsgood grabbed pole, just 16 points separated the two championship front runners.
11 laps ahead in race one, and believe it or not, these two on the front row are actually teammates, even though they're in different cars. But it's Johnson with his nose in front, but he's on the wrong side for turn one.
But on board with Kim Jane with a Newline inboard, down the inside of Chris Pither, a bit of a tank slapper.
Got the move done. Chris Pither on the outside. It's bump and bash down at turn two. Charlie Kovacs is on the way through. Andrew Fisher, the big loser.
Johnson stalked Ellsgood for several laps, waiting for the right time to pounce.
Look at Ellsgood's car moving around under brakes. Very defensive on the way in though, Aaron. Grant Johnson looking for the switchback.
And Jack wants to slow him down at the apex of this corner, but he hasn't been able to do it because the Commodore is back down the inside for this right-hander that brings them back into Reed Park.
Oh, the grunt of the Holden. He got good drive, did Grant Johnson. Now Jack Ellsgood switching back. Grant Johnson bouncing it off the curb.
Oh, and Ellsgood is back in front.
Ellsgood was doing everything in his power to stay in the lead.
While these guys are battling, you've got third place who are hunting them down, getting closer and closer, but this has been a race-long battle. Is it going to be Johnson up the inside?
Great move. He was on the outside for the sweeper, but it's up the inside at turn 13, and Ellsgood cannot do a thing, so Johnson is through to the lead.
He tried for the switchback. It's taken him 9 laps, but can he hold him now? 2 laps to go.
The number one car was not giving up without a fight.
Talk about cutting corners. That's crazy.
But the series leader was putting on a show for the crowd.
Grant Johnson lighting it up.
And Ellsgood was left to rue what could have been.
Well, he's taken up the fight in this race, Jack Ellsgood, but...
That's awesome. Good stuff.
Lights ablaze. Johnson does it again. He takes the win. They were the two dominant performers. Kim Jane in third, Ryle Harris and David Cedars, new engines for those two drivers in the top 5. Gary Baxter just outside the top 10, and Steve Hodges rounds out the 20.
Jack, so close to your first race win of the year. Not to be. What happened?
With a few laps to go, the car started throwing coolant onto the windscreen. Temperature went to about 135, so I just looked after it, and Grant was putting pressure on me the whole way, and he drove exceptionally well, and in the end he was too good for me.
Grant Johnson, you've now got 5 race wins. Jack Ellsgood has got 0. It's not fair.
I'm greedy. That was an awesome race. I really had a lot of fun, and it was just a pity that Jack had a bit of a heating problem at the end there.
It's going to be good fun in the next race because we all know what happens. You could start anywhere.
Yeah, I've got to do the draw again. I'm the only one that's done the draw, so I'm getting pretty good at it now.
And the number he's drawn is 12, so he'll start from 12 and we'll flip the top dozen on the green. Race 2 is after the break.